Spiritual life is not a matter of the intellect. It is not a matter of your thoughts and desires. It is a matter of the heart. When your sincere love is there for the Supreme, your heart opens and the connection is met. The love that you have goes from the desire to acquire something from the Supreme, whether it be intellectual ability, psychic ability, or spiritual elevation. It is still a desire. The ego, the I sense, wants to acquire these things, to become greater by acquiring, to become more puffed up. But as love grows in magnitude, that desire to acquire transforms. And there becomes a desire to please, to serve the beloved, to surrender one's own desires and ego to the feet of that Divine One. When through deep spiritual immersion one begins to see the beauty of that omnipresent love of the infinite, the desire to acquire becomes less. The desire to serve it, to surrender to it, to emulate it becomes more. Then the I sense, the ego sense of individuality becomes surrendered at the lotus feet of the Supreme. And with this comes a humble love that does not desire anything for itself, but only to let go, to emulate, and to serve that one who is beautiful beyond compare, that infinite light within. When this happens, the sense of individuality begins to dissolve into that cosmic entity, that Divine One, that supreme light, infinite love, pure being, deep peace, becomes the life of your life, the lodestone of your heart, the sun that shines within. This brings you to real spirituality. You need not be in some high samadhi. You need not achieve some high state of consciousness, but only to recognize the deep love and to let go and give your life to the Infinite One. Thy will, not mine. And allow yourself to fill as a vessel for that infinite being. Allow it to permeate you. Then you begin to feel that your life is not an individual achievement, but an expression of the infinite. And when you take the ideation that all is Brahma, all is the Infinite One, all is the divine essence, then this experience, you realize you are not, it is not only you, but it is all beings who are the embodiment of this light, of this love. In the play of creation, this love, this light is embodied. With this, the ordinary is transformed into the extraordinary. So people get confused because when the blissful state of samadhi and divine immersion is there, this experience is so present in one's feeling, in one's being. But then when that state of immersion is not in the mind, what then? You are an ordinary person in a world of duality, and you are leading your life and doing the activities of your life. What then? What has happened for all your years of sadhana? And you think, I'm going nowhere. Perhaps this thought comes, but it is a false thinking, because it is not only the feeling state that you experience, but it is the knowledge, not the intellectual idea, but the knowledge within you. There is a difference between intellectual ideas and knowledge. They are not the same. Knowledge is a deeper source. It is a kind of knowing. When you have been exposed to the light of the Supreme, when you have seen that infinite one and surrendered yourself, that remains in you. There is a part of you that knows. You know this reality. And the more exposure you have, the more deep set and firm this knowledge becomes. Knowledge of the divine, knowledge of the infinite. So that, yes, you go about your day today, but if instead of allowing forgetting, you take the ideation that one is always with me, I am in fact the servant, the embodiment of that one, and all beings are the embodiment. All creation is the embodiment of the infinite being. And you take this ideation throughout your day. This becomes an important practice, because then you begin to realize the infinite one is acting through you, doing the action, receiving the action. You are not alone. The divine is enacting in creation. And you recognize that you are not the doer of actions. All is done by the infinite one. All play is the play of that one's mind, that the dream of creation is created by the Supreme, and you feel that one's presence around you. So taking this remembrance, a time comes when it ceases to be a remembrance, but it becomes a knowing, a knowledge that's firm inside of you. And though you may slip into forgetfulness, you return to that knowledge, even when the emotional connected feeling, the wholeness of the experience is not there. The knowledge of that experience is there. The knowledge of that truth is there in you all the time. It begins to change you, transform you. If you stay with that remembrance throughout the day, don't let yourself stray. You feel that Lord is always with you. The divinity is always with you, in those you meet, those you see. This life can be turned into an association with the great through continual remembrance and a knowing that develops. And that knowing is a type of realization. You know the truth. You have touched it. with your heart. And even when the shadows of illusion cloud the mind, you still know the truth, for you have personally felt and experienced that association. And so out of that has arisen a dedication. The mind does various maneuvers, thinks various thoughts, goes this way and that, but the knowing within you is like a lodestone. It remains steady. And then the times of bliss, the times of connectedness, the times when you feel the joy of divine presence, they are the result. They are the grace of the infinite coming close to you, embracing you. But when the mind turns away from the beloved and into the world of forms and activities and desires, still knowing, I have known the beloved, I know the truth, and remembering that is the realization, that is the truth. You are not apart from it because you know it in your heart. It remains even when the mind becomes clouded with various ideas and activities. The mind becomes clouded, but the truth remains within you, the lodestone that grounds your heart. And when you maintain remembrance, grounds your mind in truth, even when the dream dominates the outer mind. Awareness moves in both spheres simultaneously. You are all embodiments of that divine essence. When you look deep within, you may see your own psychology, your faults and failings, your strengths, your desires. But beneath that whole realm, there remains that radiant light, the spirit, which is you, which is all beings, which is Baba, which is love, which is truth. That is not an idle abstraction. It is a powerful force. It is the substance of all that is. The closer you remain to it, the more it transforms you. You walk in the footsteps of your beloved. You immerse yourself in your beloved. And that radiant beingness begins to permeate through the layers of your existence until the confusion leaves the mind and the light alone exists. The heart abides. This is the path, the way to the infinite one. Whatever practices you do, whatever mantras you say, this is the path to the one.